All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So first things first, I hope you have a great 4th of July, right? Whatever you're doing, beach, boat, pool, fireworks, whatever. I hope you have a great time. But in this one, I wanted to talk a little bit about a player that, in my opinion, is probably, like, if I had to do my breakout list of, players for the New York Jets, this guy probably tops it. It's Joe Tippmann, center, former second round pick out of Wisconsin, going into year 2 here. Now, when I say breakout player, I don't necessarily mean, goes from what we saw a year ago to all of a sudden becomes the best center in football. But you see a significant jump. You see, a rise in numerous categories, right? On-field play, leadership off the field. He just looks like a building block, right? And it's not to say that Tippmann didn't look like a building block a year ago, because he definitely did, and of course it was his rookie season. But going into this year, I think it's really going to separate him from the pack a little bit, right? Where people externally, right, non-Jets fans are going to look at Joe Tippmann and say, man, you know what? He's one of the best young centers in the game. Right, in the game. So when we look at Tippmann in 2023, there was a lot of good, right? There was some bad, right? It wasn't all just perfect out there. It wasn't, fantastic football every single snap of every single game. But it's understandable, right? With Joe Tippmann being in his rookie year, with him receiving horrible coaching from the staff, him also practicing and playing some guard as well, so he couldn't just focus his 100% effort into one position, as well as the fact that our quarterback play wasn't all that great. So I do feel like blocking for a veteran quarterback who can maybe make more checks at the line of scrimmage, as well as theoretically getting the football out of his hands quicker, is going to help Joe Tippmann as far as like the the detailed statistics are concerned, like pass rushing rate and all these different things. But Joe Tippmann, again, he's coming off a season where, to me at least, he passed the eye test, right? According to PFF, his score was low, for whatever that's worth. I think it was like 61, which I know in the grand scheme of things isn't all that great. But again, when I watched the Jets, when I watched Joe Tippmann, he stood out to me as a player that I looked at saying, you know what, this could be the guy here. This could be the answer at the center position. Not calling him top 3, not calling him top 5, but for a young kid coming in as a second rounder, I like what I'm seeing given the circumstances that the New York Jets are presenting. Tippmann is somebody who has size, length, positional versatility, athleticism as well. He also fits what the Jets want to do from a systematic sense, right? He checks the boxes that Hackett would be looking for in his center, in his offensive lineman, which again is that athleticism and length. Can you move in space? And I think Joe Tippmann does that really, really well. Another kind of funny little tidbit here is that the Jets drafted Braylon Allen, so he is going to be blocking his former teammate. But more importantly, I really feel as though the Jets are going to be getting back to the ground game this season. And really, when you look at Joe Tippmann, when you looked at his 2022 tape and just really what he did in Wisconsin, that was a pro style, ground and pound, run the ball a lot, grind down the defense type of team. And I would like the Jets to get back to that. I really was not a fan of, how we looked a year ago, how we would come out of the gate. I understand that the New York Jets were down in a lot of games. We'd always have to play catch up. But I mean, we would always come out of the just start off throwing the football a ton, right? The Jets were, I believe, top 3 in pass attempts, and we didn't really hand the ball off all that much. I want that reversed. It might sound like counterintuitive because you're going from Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers. Like maybe you want to throw the football more, but I think with Rodgers coming off the Achilles, him being 40 years old, and us having a better O-line with 5 running backs that I feel like are capable with, the addition of Tariq Cohen, and you got some receivers that can make plays in the intermediate, deep parts of the field, if healthy, of course. I really don't want Rodgers dropping back there 43 times a game. I really don't. I want us to be running the football a lot more. Now, based off of the O-line acquisitions, Morgan Moses, John Simpson, all the running back additions as well in the draft, they point to me, like just reading the tea leaves, this is a team that wants to get back to running the football. Hackett does call a lot of play action as well. So, I really feel like those 3rd and 7s, those 2nd and 9s, those plays that you could really whip out the play action they're going to come in handy. But how do you get into those positions where play action can work? Defenses need to fear, or I guess maybe respect, the running game. And last year, they didn't respect the running game. How do you get them to respect the running game? You have to have success there. How do you have success there? You have to have good blocking up front. We have the backs. We have the talent and depth there. But up front, can we block? Can we give these guys holes to run through? Can we give these guys running lanes? And I think this year, we're going to be in a good position. So I think with Tippmann, what he showed last year, what he showed in college, understanding that he is a good system fit, having some more talent around him, now he can just be streamlined and just being the team's starting center, because we actually have some more depth on the O-line. And also, too, we'll see what happens with Connor McGovern. If he gets brought back on a cheap 1-year deal, I would really like that acquisition as like a depth-piece option. And crazy enough, the Pro Football Writers of America voted Joe Tippmann to the all-rookie team, right? So the starting center on the all-rookie team, which I thought was pretty interesting, right? I think that's, to me at least, that's a nice tip of the cap. Again, externally, right? Because as Jets fans, we're hyper analyzing every player, every game, every play. There's a lot of stuff that we can dive into, but when other people can recognize and notice talent, and I'm not talking about Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, those guys were, going to be great right out of the gate, top 10 picks. Everybody knew that. Number 1 corner, number 1 wideout in the class. But for a guy like Joe Tippmann, right, comes in as a 2nd-round pick, not saying that he wasn't highly regarded, but for him to make noise, again, externally to where the Pro Football Writers of America can notice that, and then anoint him as that starting center on the all-rookie team, I do think that is pretty impressive to me. Who else? Bucky Brooks from the NFL Network also listed Joe Tippmann as a breakout player to watch, which I thought was really, really cool. But anyway, yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Who's your breakout player? I think there's a couple different candidates, and I wanted to do a whole separate video on it. Again, not talking about all of these guys just jumping into the top 5 at their position, but you would see a significant jump in numbers, in production, in maybe role as well on the team. So yeah, for me, I would probably say Joe Tippmann is topping that list. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts, and as always, go Jets.